Welcome back, guys. We know that by adding elements in HTML code, also known as markup, we give browsers information how to show user structure of the page. In this video, we'll learn how to add markup to the text that we see on a web page. There are two types of markups in HTML. One is structural and the second is semantic. Structure markup is the one that affect the structure of the page. For example, headings and paragraphs. And semantic markups, these are the markups that don't necessarily affect the structure of the page, but they add extra information to the elements on the web page for the browsers. So in this video, we'll focus on structural markup. So we will start with the headings in HTML. HTML has 6 levels of headings. H1 is used for the main heading and H2 for the subheading. If there are other sections in the page, you can use H2 or H3. And H1 is the largest and H6 is the smallest, and the exact size of each heading will differ on a different browser. Now we'll learn a little bit about paragraphs. We know about it a little bit from the first video, but basically if you want to add a paragraph to a web page, all you have to do is add your content between the opening and the closing of p tag, and that will become a paragraph. And for paragraphs, browsers will actually add a new line after each paragraph. So after this paragraph, this line, the line here is automatically added. Even if you bring this close to right next to each other, by default a line will be entered on our web page. An interesting thing that we really need to know is that if we were to add extra spaces or add new lines in our character here, you will see that it will have no effect on our web page whatsoever. This behavior is called white space collapsing. So pretty much if you add more than one space or if you add new lines, this will not affect the text in the browser. So this is a behavior that sometimes developers use to kind of indent their code to look a little bit better, but it has no effect, as you can see on our web page. Sometimes in our paragraph we have certain keywords that we really want to make them bold so the reader's attention could be taken. So for that, all we have to do is use a B tag and just add the words that you want to make bold between the opening and closing tag. Obviously you're gonna delete it, so we'll duplicate otherwise. And if we actually run this file in the server, you will see that the words that are between the opening and closing B tags are bold. Similarly, we sometimes have words that we want to italicize. For example, names of different places or technical terms, foreign words. We want to italicize those words. For that, we use an I tag. For example, for this is a word we really want to italicize. All we have to do is have a opening and closing I tags, add the word in it, and you will see that this word is now italicized. There's another interesting thing that we should look at is that what if you want to make a word italicized and bold at the same time? So all we have to do is have a bold tag, open and close, and then add this between those two tags, and you will see that our word is now have become italicized and bold at the same time. Sometime in our code, in a paragraph, we want to superscript certain characters. For example, if you're writing a mathematical equation and we want to raise a power. For example, let's say we have a paragraph. In this we are saying 5 raised to 2 multiplied by 5 raised to 3 is equal to 1. It's 150. Yes, it's 150. So now we have to make this 2 and 3 superscript, so it looked like as we're raising the power. So for that we can use our sub tag. So what the sub tag does is, you will see, we'll add 2 here, and for this 3, and as you can see, if we open this in our server, so these two words have become superscript and looks pretty neat. We sometimes use superscript for data as well. For example, we have a paragraph in which we're writing, let's say we Canada Day on July 1st, which is coming really soon, and we want to make this ST superscript. So all we have to do is add a superscript tag here and add ST into it. So this becomes superscript. The next thing that we would use sometime is subscript. For example, we have footnotes and we have a chemical formula. We need to subscript certain character. For example, in this paragraph right here, we're writing that increasing level of CO2 is dangerous. Now we want to subscript this 2 right here. So similar to superscript, all we have to do is have a sub tag opening and close and add 2 between those two, and you will see that this 2 is now become subscript and it looks really neat. Now let's talk about line break. We talked about the white space collapsing in the beginning of the video. Now what if we do want to have a new line in our paragraph? For example, we have this paragraph and we really want to have these 2 words in the next line. But as you can see, because the white space collapsing, it's not happening. But if to achieve this task, what we can use is a line break tag. It's called break tag. So BR is short for break, and you will see that after adding this tag, is dangerous is sent to the next line. Did you notice something different? Did you notice that for this break tag, we didn't have an opening and a closing tag? Why is that? There are some elements in HTML that do not have any content in it, and we call them void elements. The reason we call them void is because they don't have any content. They might have an attribute, but they don't have any content, and for that we don't have to have opening and closing tags for them. We can have a left angle bracket, the character in between that kind of tells us about the tag, a / and a right angle bracket, and that's all we have to do. We don't have to have an opening and closing tag for those elements. These tags are called self-closing tags. Now we'll go back to our paragraph file, and let me just Control Z so it goes back to its previous version. Now sometime what we want to do is we want to break between 2 themes. For example, if we run this in a server, I think it's right here. If we run this in the server, we want to make these 2 paragraphs look separate from each other. One thing we can do is we can draw a line in between. So for having a line, or horizontal rule or line between 2 paragraphs or 2 elements, we can use a HR tag. So it's a self-closing tag, just as BR. You can just add this HR tag, and you will see a line break. Not a line break, a horizontal line between these 2 elements. So guys, this video is at its end now. In this video, we learned about structural markup in HTML. We learned about headings, paragraph, bold and italic, superscript, and subscript characters, how to add a line break, and how to have a horizontal row. We're going to continue learning about the semantic markup in our next video. So please continue and also subscribe to the channel.